Welcome back to the Artist Access. I am here with a young, phenomenal artist. I met this young lady just scrolling down Instagram, and I caught her performing, and she is very talented. So I had to reach out and get her on the show. I have with me none other than Journey.
Hello,
How are you
everybody.
doing?
Hi. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I am Journey with the IE, not an EY, and I'm
Yeah.
doing so amazing. Thank you again for
Okay.
reaching out to me.
Yes.
Thank you for
How
having
did you
me.
come up with your name, Journey?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question to start. So,
Mhm.
I am 19 years old, and I am Chicago born and Houston
Shot
raised.
time.
Yes. So, I've been a singer my whole life, as
Mhm.
most people have. I've been a singer my whole life, been a songwriter since I was like 7, I should say.
Mhm.
But I have always been growing up trying to find like artist name. I've been trying to find
Mm.
an artist name my whole life. It's so
Mhm.
funny. When I was in 7th grade, I went from this one middle school that I was at my whole life to transferring to another school. And when I went there, I saw that as an opportunity to rename myself.
Right.
And so at the time, I wasn't super conscious of it, but I had named myself Roxy when I went there. And that is from Let It Shine, if you guys know. Let It
Yeah.
Shine off Disney
Yeah.
Channel. It's
Yeah.
funny. But at the time, I wasn't super conscious that I named myself that because of that. That's something like I don't talk about a lot. I
Right.
think that name is so funny. But I named myself that there. I was only at the school for like 6 weeks, so I was only called that for like 6 weeks. Other than that, when I was doing YouTube, I had named myself like Ocean Glam. I named myself J Love 11 or J
Yeah.
Love. It's just funny. Like I've tried to name myself and find myself an artist name my whole life, but nothing ever fit. Nothing ever
Right.
felt like me. Nothing ever felt like when someone would call me that name, I would be like, oh yes, that's who I am and that's me.
Okay.
And so as I grew up, I just decided to leave that alone, just go by my name. And then when I was a senior, I was sent to an alternative school in October for doing something I shouldn't have been doing. And when I went there, it drove me to be very introspective because I had realized that after quarantine, after COVID, and going back to school, and even before quarantine, it was really when I moved back to Chicago
Mhm.
that I had started putting on persona that was not who I truly was. I was wearing the wigs, and I was wearing the 30 millimeter lashes and the 30-inch nails, which is all fine if that's who you are, but it felt like it wasn't who I was. And also putting on a persona around people that wasn't true to who I am and authentic to myself. And so when I got to the alternative school, I really had to sit down with myself and realize that, okay, who you have been is not who you are. You don't have any friends.
Right.
You are not you're not thriving. And obviously you ended up here, so you've not been doing something right. I felt like I hit rock bottom. And that's when I really started to write the songs that I have been writing. And even at that point, I didn't know what I wanted to go to college for either. I did not have it figured out. In the summer going to senior year, I was talking about going to school for philosophy. And my mom was like, what are you going to do with that? And I was like, okay, you're right. Rethink. And then I was thinking about psychology. And then I was thinking about, I think, criminal psychology. And I was thinking about all those things that weren't really me. And then I thought about graphic design, and it all started to come back into the creative space. So I thought about graphic design, and I was set on that for a while. But then I just started writing these songs. Like when you are honest with yourself, that's when the doors start opening. And so the lyrics came, the songs came, like everything that I used to be was coming back to me, and it found its way back. And I was like, oh my gosh, everybody in my family, like, these songs are really good. Like, you're really good again. And I was like, okay, well then maybe I'll go to college for music. So then I started applying. I applied to Berklee College of Music, that's in Massachusetts, and I applied to UNT for their music program because they have one of the top programs in the country as well. And I did not get into Berklee. They let me know on the last day of like when your notification period was. I did not get into Berklee. I did get into UNT, but I didn't know you had to audition for the music program. So I was like, okay, well then for this year, I'm just going to forego going to college. And my parents were cool with it. My mom was like scared, but my dad was like, you don't need college if you want to do this. If you want to be an artist, you don't need college.
Right.
So they supported me in foregoing going to college. And so just because I didn't get into the music program, I was like, if I take this 1 year, this gap year, and I see that nothing comes of it, then I'll go next year. Since I already got in, I'll just reapply and I'll just go next year. But I really didn't want to go to college when I realized that this is what I wanted to do. And so after I graduated in 2023, I just set out on my path to go and do this. And so my first kind of step into doing it was, I have this old friend from Chicago. He is a rapper. He started doing it way early. He started being serious about it way earlier than me. And he's always seen me posting my covers or posting my songs on my page. And he's always been like, let's work, let's work, let's work. And it's always been one of those things where you say, yeah, we'll work, and then you never get to it. But I posted it this one time, and then he was like, let's work. And I was like, let's do it. Let's actually do it. And so I was working this one day for our family business we have. It's a table and chair event rental company. I was working, I was doing deliveries. So we were like, when we get home, let's FaceTime, let's do it. And so when I got home, I don't really like to FaceTime. So I was going to, if he didn't text me, I was going to just let it go up into the air and let it not happen. But he texted me, he's like, you're home? I'm like, yes, I'm home. So I guess we'll make this song. And we got on the phone. We talked, we connected, because the ex that I had was dating his ex. So we were talking and connecting about that. And we were like, oh, isn't that weird? It's a little. But we were connecting about that. We were connecting about the fact that that ex that I had was like my long-term boyfriend, long-distance boyfriend. And he was also dating a girl at the time, still dating her. They're happy and together. But they were going to have to deal with the problem of being long distance because they were going to college. And so we decided to write our song about long distance and waiting for somebody who's worth the wait. We stayed up that whole night making the song. He made the beat. He produced the beat. His name is Slizzo. Shout out to you. And I made the hook. I made the verse, and then the next day he came back to me with his verse, and the song was done. I am fortunate enough to be able to fly for free because of my grandma. She was an American Airlines worker. So I have free flights. And so for my career, I've always been like, if I need to go somewhere for something, get me on the first flight, I'm out there. And so he was like, this song is really good. Let's get out and let's record it and make the video. I went on the plane. The next week, I got out there and we set out to record the song. And I did all of that. And then when it finally came time for us to get ready to put it out, we're like, who are you? What's your name going to be? And at the time when I said, I just settled on my name being Jocelyn, which is what my real name is, I was like, I'll just be that. I'll just be Jocelyn. But then my dad was like, okay, you're going to have to come up with a name because there are too many people named Jocelyn when you search it on Google. And so I was like, okay. Well, then I asked Slizzo how he came up with his artist name. And he said his story was basically, that's what people used to call him Sliz growing up. I don't know the whole story. You have to ask him. But people used to call him that. He came up with the name. He said, just think about something that's important to you. So the first thing that came to mind for me was butterflies, just because. It is important to me, but I was like, I'm not naming myself that. And I was in the hotel with my grandma when this was all going on. I was in the hotel with her. She came with me, and my journal was on the side, on the nightstand. And so the first thing was butterflies. I was like, I'm not naming myself that. I looked on the nightstand, and my journal was there, which in the time of me being introspective and everything, it was always me and my journal. I had no one to talk to. I talked to my journal. My first songs are written in my journal, so I looked at my journal, and I was like, it just literally, it was like a process. I was looking at it, and it went Journey. And that's how my name came to be. And then I didn't want it to be the standard spelling, I thought IE was pretty creative.
Yeah.
So, yes.
That's a very unique name, Journey.
Yeah, that's how it came on my name. It just felt like it all came at the time that it was supposed to. Because when I tell you, growing up, I was racking my brain trying to find an artist name, and it never came. It was one of those divine timing things where I wasn't supposed to know. I had to evolve. The name had to come when it was time for it to come.
Yeah, that's how it be happening too.
Yeah. It is.
Yes.
Everything is always in divine timing.
Divine timing. Yes, ma'am.